Welcome back, everyone, to Bronx Talks. Today, we are going to be giving you a state of the New York Yankees. We thought we'd come on, go live, talk about the team as we are at the All-Star break. The first half of baseball for the 2024 season has concluded. And the Yankees have certainly had their ups and they've certainly had their downs. It's really been a tale of, two sides. I think the first, 3 months really 2.5 months were really, really good. And then ever since really the middle of June, not so good, really not good at all. So they've definitely been on both sides of the coin so far as the first half concluded. But we're going to be talking about state of the Yankees, talk about some trade deadline stuff at the end and, just dive totally into the team. But Christian, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and I'm happy that we're finally able to talk. We've done some videos, but it's been a while since we've been live, and I'm really the last time we were live, it was all still magical, and we were kind of just, it was talking about how great Soto is and how awesome Judge is, but they hit the inevitable rough patch, and I think really, you know, that's going to happen to every team. I think kind of the concern is just why is this always happening to the Yankees, at this point in the season, and why does it last for so long? And I think that's kind of the concern with fans is like, Aaron Boone and the front office, they keep saying, we'll get out of this. But, 2022, they didn't. Uh, so it was nice that they picked up the series win. Terrible, terrible end. I texted Ryan. I thought it was the exact same thing as 2021, where they won the first two games against the Astros. Um, at that point, I think they were struggling too, but they won those two games. They're up 7-2 going into the ninth, and I think it was Chad Green who imploded and then gave up a home run to Altuve. But yeah, good series win, step in the right direction.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the last thing we wanted to see was the Yankees go in there and just get destroyed. They went out there, played extremely well the first two games. Garrett Cole looked phenomenal. Looked like our Cy Young 2023 Garrett Cole against the Orioles on Friday night, and then Saturday, I should say. Luis Heel looked really, really good. He had another great start, back-to-back good starts for Heel. He pitched really well against Boston last week, and he pitched really well against Baltimore. I think he only has given up 2 runs in his last, 12 and a third, maybe 12 and two-third innings. So he's looked really, really good. And that's a big thing for the Yankees because he was struggling for a while, and people are like, oh, is he fatigued? Should he go to the bullpen? But, you got to keep in mind, he was a kid making some adjustments, and it looks like as of now he's figured it out and he's back to himself. So that was really, really good to see. And then, Judge just had a phenomenal series. He was kind of in a mini slump there. Soto played really well. So the bats were getting going a little bit. Yesterday was just, look, I mean, we all would have been satisfied, I think, with a series win if someone had told us, going into the series against Baltimore. But to lose that game the way they did yesterday was just inexcusable on so many levels. I told Christian last night, I mean, there's definitely been worse losses in terms of the, magnitude and what's at play, playoff games, so on and so forth. But from pure baseball standpoint, I mean, that was one of the worst losses I've ever seen. Basically, back-to-back errors to lose the game. And to just fight back the way they did, go up 5-3 on that huge home run by Ben Rice. And to lose in that fashion was just terrible. Just really, really bad. I was absolutely shocked they lost that game. I was very frustrated. To lose like that going into the All-Star break, it's not fun, especially if the Yankees had pulled off the sweep there. They'd be going into the All-Star break in sole possession of first place in the American League East. Now they find themselves a game back. I mean, that game was terrible. And two of the guys who made the mishaps in the field have not been getting it done with the bat for a while now. So, it's very frustrating. But hopefully this All-Star break will be a little mental reset to everyone on the team, and hopefully they'll come out on Thursday night, I think, and
Friday night.
Friday night, yeah, because they play Monday, Friday night, and they'll come out ready to go.
Yeah, I almost wonder if maybe this is like, and it sucks it happened, but if almost it was a blessing that we had this game before the All-Star break, because I mean those two guys, and I really wouldn't even group Clay Holmes into this, because I mean if you look at the whole season, I mean he's been fine. I know he's had a few blow ups. I know he has the most blown saves in the AL. Uh, but really, the two guys I'm looking at are Anthony Volpe and Alex Verdugo, who have had pretty rough seasons. Uh, Volpe to start off, and his defense has been great. It was awesome last year, great this year, but kind of the biggest moment, and he can't get it done. And also the offensive struggles. I mean, it has been really, really bad. And then for Dugo, um, I feel like every single Alex Verdugo at bat I've watched in the past week has been a ground ball to shortstop or second base, and it is so frustrating. Um, and then for that to happen too, I almost think it's maybe a blessing that they're going to have a week for this to cool down and reset, because I mean both of their seasons were kind of spiraling, and then to have a game like that where you basically lose the game single-handedly for your team, it's pretty bad. So Volpe, I mean, also another thing which is kind of weird, and I don't know if you've noticed this as much, but it seems like both of them don't really have an understanding of the strike zone. There's been you watch and there's pitches in the zone, and they visibly get upset about the call. So I mean, it seems like a simple fix. You just don't understand the strike zone right now. I mean, I don't know, change where you're at, move closer to the plate, but both of them, I don't know. They just seem uncomfortable in the box.
Yeah, and the numbers would support that. Alex Verdugo, his last 30 games, Christian, batting 187, a 242 on base percentage, and a 276 slug. And then Volpe, 180 average, 216 on base percentage, and a 250 slug in his last 30 games. They just have not been good. And when you add that on to guys who just haven't performed all season, really, like Gleyber Torres and, DJ LeMahieu, it's hard to score runs, and we've seen that. And it's really unfortunate to see, because this is not what the Yankees had imagined when they brought Alex Verdugo in. I think this is the first year in his career he's had a batting average below 260. I mean, what is going on here? And the mishaps in the field yesterday, I mean, Volpe on a routine ground ball. And then Verdugo, I think there was a 99% catch probability on that
Yeah,
double by
I mean,
Mullins. And that's the second time we've seen that this year, Christian. It's actually the second time we've seen him come in on a ball that went over his head. I think it might have happened against the Dodgers, and he said in the postgame that would never happen again. I remember him saying that. Unfortunately, it does happen again, cost the Yankees the game. But these two were really good. I mean, for the first couple months of the season, I mean, I was like, wow, Volpe's really taking that next step. And Verdugo, we had the whole, dog thing, Bronx dogs. I mean, Verdugo is looking really solid as well. They just haven't shown up in the last, 2 months or so. It just hasn't been good for them. I don't know what the Yankees do, but I think the Yankees are going to have to bring in a bat or two, because they just have too many players in that lineup that just aren't hitting, that just haven't hit. I mean, Verdugo and Volpe, they've had some rough struggles for a long time. And you mentioned that in the beginning, Christian. Really, the last 3 seasons, the Yankees, they don't just struggle. I mean, everyone goes through ups and downs. It's a 162 game season. You can't predict baseball. I mean, one moment you could be riding high, thinking you're winning the World Series. The next moment you think you can't even win a game. We've seen that with the Yankees, but the Yankees struggle for months. That's not normal. That's not normal. And we've seen over the last 2 months throughout the Yankees struggles some just not okay things. We saw the Trent Grisham lollygag in the outfield against the Cincinnati Reds. We saw Volpe, not hustle to get home to score a run on, and we saw DJ LeMahieu not getting a double play. That was against Boston. There was a time Torres didn't hustle. We're seeing these things, and that's not okay, especially when a team is losing and not playing well. You need to do everything you can. The Yankees had a stretch where they didn't steal a base for like 20 straight games or something like that. Absolutely unreal the way the Yankees struggle. It's for months. I don't understand it. It's pretty crazy. I mean, up until the series win against Baltimore, I mean, they were 0-7-1 in their last 8 series. They didn't win a series since, Kansas City in the middle of June. So it's pretty crazy to think about, but the Yankees are going to have to tighten that up. They've been lucky. They've been fortunate that Baltimore has struggled a lot lately, and they've been able to stay in the race. But Boston has played very, very well. And you look at it right now, Christian, Boston only 3.5 games back of the New York Yankees and only 4.5 back of the Baltimore Orioles. They continue to play well. I think, a month or so ago, and maybe even coming into the year, we all thought this was going to be a 2-team race between the Yankees and the Orioles, but the Red Sox right there banging on the door. This could be a 3-team race. And it's going to be interesting to see what these teams do at the deadline. And we've seen it before. Brian Cashman get beat at the deadline. We've seen, the Astros time in and time out beat the Yankees at the deadline. The Yankees can't get beat again. They have to make moves. They have to match the moves that their rivals make because you don't want any of those two teams to get better and, really put your division chances in jeopardy.
Yeah. I really think it's one of those. I mean, Yankees control their own destiny here. Maybe they screwed themselves over a little bit with the Orioles. I mean, if they play really good down the stretch, it's a chance they might not be able to catch them. But I mean, the Yankees would have to play pretty bad to get caught by Boston. Let's talk a little bit about Clay Holmes. I know we might have a little bit different opinions, but I don't think this guy is a bad reliever. I just don't think he's necessarily made for the closing role. And we did talk about him earlier, and we were a lot more confident because he was pitching different at the beginning of the year. And I remember we went through this because we were talking about how, yes, he has a great sinker, but if he's getting ground balls all the time, sometimes they're going to get through. The first 2 months of the season, he was striking a lot of guys out. And I know that because I remember pulling up his Baseball Savant page and looking at the K percentage, the whiff percentage, and it was 90th percentile. Now it's back to 50 and 70, which is basically last year. And, I think this guy is still a elite relief pitcher. It's just when he's in the closing role and he's going to get a lot of contact, like it's bound for things to happen that are going to be fluky, whether it's an error, a weak ground ball, a ball that just sneaks through, like stuff's going to happen and it's going to just be really loud when it's the bottom of the ninth and, he blows a save. So I think it's really a simple fix. Get a closing pitcher who strikes guys out. I mean, that is really what closers need to be able to do. I don't think you can really rely on getting, 3 ball in play outs because just shit's going to happen. And honestly, I think then having Holmes move to like a 7th or 8th inning guy, I think only benefits him too, because we also have seen him get like the yips and walk guys before. So I don't think it's as simple as just Holmes sucks. I think he's just not being used in the right role right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with you. I don't think Clay Holmes is built for the closer role right now. I mean, his last 10 appearances, 9 2/3, 12 runs, 3 blown saves. The Yankees are 3-7 in those 10 games. It's via Katie Sharp. He just hasn't pitched well. And this is the thing with Clay Holmes. Like you said, he, relies on contact, but you put yourself in an even worse position when you allow men to get on base. What, 3 walks yesterday in yesterday's game? Look,
2, I think, right?
2, maybe 2. I thought it was 3. I thought it was 3, but I could be wrong.
Look.
Maybe it was a hit. But when you put runners on base, that's going to be an issue. And the Orioles were able to exploit that weakness and were able to win the game. And I get it. I know there's 2 errors made. The Yankees should have won the game. But when you continue to put runners on base, and then it doesn't matter. Baseball doesn't care if it's a bloop single, it's a little ground ball up the middle. Runners are going to score. And that's just been the issue with Clay Holmes. The Yankees have also blown 3 games where they were a strike away from winning this year. Clay Holmes, just I think a little over a week ago against Boston, gives up a home run to Masataka Yoshida, who the guy had like 2 home runs coming into that at bat. It just hasn't been good for Clay Holmes. And look, here's another thing about Clay Holmes. I think Clay Holmes has pitched 39 something innings this year, maybe a little. I'm not sure. He's given up more hits than innings pitched. So I don't know what the Yankees do there. I definitely think they need to get someone in the bullpen who strikes guys out. But I don't think the Yankees are going to move on from Clay Holmes as the closer. And I think it's kind of unfortunate because I really think they should. It just hasn't worked out. And, as the season gets tighter and tighter and, as October approaches, you don't want to be blowing games, and you don't want to be blowing games in October. He just hasn't looked good right now for the Yankees. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna push back. So he had 2 walks against the Orioles. Then his last, so before that, his last 9 appearances, no walks. He's also in the 80th percentile in walks. I mean, I really think it's just balls get put in play, and every now and then they're gonna find holes. There's an occasional, hit batter in there, but I think this guy is going to be a weapon. I really think he could help the Yankees in the postseason, just not in the top or bottom of the 9th. Especially another thing, and this won't be a problem in the postseason, but with the Manfred man, I mean, that's almost a guarantee. I mean, for the other team to score a run. I mean, there's really no way he can get out of that. Whether it's a bunt, a ground ball, you're going to move him over, and then you're just going to get him in. So the bottom line is they need a guy who can strike people out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no Manfred man in the playoffs, but I mean, it's certainly down the stretch. There's, they haven't played well in extra innings this year either. I think they're I think they're 0-6 in extra inning games. They just don't have anyone in that bullpen that can strike guys out. And, when they pitch to contact, sometimes it's going to get exploited. And I know Clay Holmes has given up more hits than innings pitched this year. Look, he's a solid pitcher. He's an all-star for a reason, but he just hasn't shown that, I guess he could be the closer for this team. 5-3 lead. And, I think a lot of Yankee fans were not totally thrilled about Clay Holmes coming in the game. They weren't like, this game's over. And, he was not able to get the job done. So it's unfortunate to see, but I definitely agree. I think Clay Holmes just needs a different role. However, I don't see the Yankees doing that. I don't see them, pulling Clay Holmes out of that closer role. Yankees just have struggled big time. And, it's unfortunate to see that what's happened with Holmes. But 4 losses leading by multiple runs in the 9th inning, most in baseball. That's also via Katie Sharp. But, yeah, just hasn't been good. You got to tighten up on that. And interesting to see what the Yankees do there. I think they're definitely going to bring in a relief pitcher or 2, maybe even more at the deadline. And they just got Scott Efros back, so that should help. They're going to get Hamilton back, Nick Burdi as well. So the bullpen's going to get better. But I don't know what they do with Clay Holmes.
Yeah. The Yankees should get someone, but I kind of agree with you. I could see them sticking with their guy. One guy I want to talk about is Nestor Cortez. Obviously, you had the outing against the Rays. Um, but I mean, you look at the stats, really good, especially compared to last year. I mean, where he had basically a 5 ERA, and we were wondering, what are we going to get from this guy? He stayed healthy, tied for the most games started in baseball, and he has a 3.67 ERA. But I mean, with that said, and I don't know how you feel, but I don't have that confidence in him. And it almost like you almost get the feeling like when he's not going to pitch well. And I know he's had some really good outings. He had the Marlins game.
Mhm.
But it just seems like there are some times, and you almost know before it's going to happen, where he's just not going to be able to get outs. I mean, before he took the mound against the Rays, I just did not have a good feeling. And I don't think it's some, sixth sense. And I know there's splits about home and away. I really think it's just a matter of the teams. And I don't know if I would trust this guy starting a postseason game, despite, having a pretty good start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't pitched well on the road. I mean, he's really just gotten crushed on the road. He's pitched very well at home. So, look, I mean, there's a whole lot of baseball left to be played. He goes out there, he pitches well second half of the year, and, cleans up his splits a little bit, pitches better on the road. Yeah, certainly you could throw him out there, given that he has the experience. He did start Game 5 in the ALDS against Cleveland a couple years ago. But, if he's pitching to an ERA of 6 on the road, maybe you don't pitch him on the road in the playoffs, but you think eventually the schedule is going to find a way where he's going to have to be thrown on that mound. I don't know. The Yankees still have a little bit of time to answer those questions. I think the biggest concern from the starting pitching is Carlos Rodon. I mean, this guy was pitching really, really well to start the year, and he's basically fallen off the face of the earth. Can't really get anyone out. Yesterday, didn't get lit up, but I mean, 4 innings, gave up the 2 runs, and I think it was close to like 100 pitches or something like that. Look, he was just not solid. He hasn't been solid. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him there, because if he can't figure it out, then the Yankees got themselves a problem. Like I said, we said this before, the Yankees signed him to be that 1-2 punch with Garrett Cole. And he hasn't been that so far. So, if he struggles the rest of the way, I don't think the Yankees want to throw him on the mound in the postseason. Marcus Stroman, for the most part, he's had some bad outings, but, he's been pretty consistent. And, if Luis Gil pitches like his first half self, I think, he'll find his way somewhere. I don't know if the Yankees would end up starting him in a playoff game. I don't know. Maybe they just use him out of the bullpen. But I think if he continues to pitch like this, he definitely is going to have a solid shot to do that. So the starting rotation, look, there's some questions. There's questions all over this team. Considering how they've played the last month basically, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens as far as that rotation goes.
Yeah. Rodon is really scary because, and this is something I said in the last video, but I mean, we were kind of saying at the beginning of the season that, the two biggest wild cards in kind of the season depends on Giancarlo Stanton and Carlos Rodon. And Stan got injured. I mean, he's coming back. But this is just an atrocious contract right now. It's really concerning, and I can't knock the Yankees. A lot of Yankee fans can't knock the Yankees because a lot of people wanted this guy, me included. I guess it's just one of those coming to New York cases, and not being able to figure it out. I I do have a little hope because, for the first time at the beginning of the year, we saw what this guy can do. Uh, but at the end of the day, he's going to need to figure it out. It did seem like he was throwing a lot more off speed against the Orioles since his fastball is just getting pounded in previous starts. So, I mean, changes are good. But yeah, this guy's going to have to figure it out. I think I saw Derek, or I don't know if it was him. Someone was talking about potentially seeing if you could get this guy off your hands. If any team's willing to take a chance on him. And I don't know. I think it's kind of like when we were talking about see if you could trade Stanton a few years ago. I don't know if you would really have any bidders. And I think the Yankees might have to ride this out, and hopefully he can figure it out. I mean, this is terrible. I mean, he almost has a 5 ERA this year.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at his baseball savant. It's pretty bad. I mean, his fastball velocity is the same. He's just way less strikeouts, way less swings and misses. So I don't know if that's stuff or the league figuring him out. But I mean, something has to change.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been really, really bad. He was pitching to like an ERA almost. I think he was pitching to an ERA under 3 when we were in basically the middle of June, and then right as the slide started, he just got destroyed. I mean, he had like 3 outings. He gave up like 8 runs. So the ERA is definitely inflated just a bit, but he hasn't been good. He's been actually really, really bad for a while now. Hopefully he can figure it out. Luis Gil was in a slump. We saw that. And then his last 2 outings, he's looking really, really good. I just love when Luis Gil is dealing. I mean, he's so much fun to watch. I mean, he just pounds that fastball. They can't touch it. And his off-speed stuff is really, really good. He threw a slider, I think, to maybe it was Rutschman. I'm not sure. But he threw a slider on Saturday. I was just like, wow. Like, it was just unreal movement on that pitch. So he's looking really, really solid. I think he should have been an all-star. But, whatever. I don't know. Who knows there. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the whole second half of baseball for the Yankees is going to be played. I'm really, really excited about it. I'm excited because I know the Yankees are going to make some moves. I wonder how aggressive they're going to be. But I think they definitely need work in that bullpen. They definitely need some work in that infield. It's going to be fun, I think, because I think the Yankees are going to get a lot better. Like we said in our video a couple days ago, this is the worst the Yankees roster is going to look. They are going to get healthier. They're going to make moves at the trade deadline. And if they don't win at that point, it's just on them. And then there's more and more questions that need to be answered there. But, I am excited for the Yankees to get healthy, get some reinforcements, and go for it. But, Christian, I do have to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
Third base. What is going to happen with the Yankees? We saw it this past weekend. We thought maybe we'd see Yorbit Vivas at third base. The Yankees called him up to sit the bench and be the vibes guy for 3 games. Didn't get which was just absolutely ridiculous considering DJ LeMahieu has done nothing. He's done nothing. And I'm shocked he didn't get a start. I'm shocked he didn't get a start. I thought that was very frustrating. It was just bizarre. Look, I know he's primarily second base, but hey, I mean, someone could DH. I don't know what that was. But we've seen that before with the Yankees and their young players. We saw Peraza when the Yankees sat him when he got called up and then pitch hit him down 8 runs in the 9th inning. We saw that in 22. Wonder if we'll see Yorbit Vivas again, but after the All-Star break, Christian, we thought everyone's heard the big names. Stanton coming back, right? Gonna have Clark Schmidt in a month or so. Rizzo's gonna come back at some point, although Ben Rice is looking amazing. Has like 809 OPS. I mean, guy's been clutch, phenomenal. But we're gonna have JD Davis coming back. He's coming back fresh off the stomach flu, and he's gonna be ready to go. So I'm excited for that. Seeing some JD Davis action.
Yeah, he is so irrelevant right now. It is. I mean, he joined the team at the wrong time.
Yeah, he doesn't play either. I mean, he's either on the bench or he's batting cleanup. There's no in between for JD Davis. I mean, he got cut by the Athletics. I mean, I really don't know what they're doing, but yeah, third base is definitely going to be somewhere I think the Yankees are going to upgrade. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I'll preface it by saying DJ was an awesome Yankee. 2019, 2020, he was like the dream Yankee that Yankee fans were looking for so long. Like the guy who goes oppo and puts the ball in play and he's clutch, runners in scoring position. But that was like 29 to 33-year-old DJ. This guy is way past his prime. I think everyone can completely rule him out. I don't think he's MLB talent anymore. If he is still on the roster by the time the postseason rolls around, I don't know what the Yankees are doing. I mean, I don't think there is anything he could do or any stat you could show me that would make me think, oh, maybe he still has something left in the tank. I mean, he doesn't. The most he does, it's just choppers to second base or rollovers. I mean, he's done. And I think the Yankees understand that. I think Brian Cashman understands that. So then it's kind of just the question of who do they get to play third base? There's a lot of names swirling around. We've already covered some in our trade deadline targets, and we still have to make another one, which will probably be a lot of infield options. But I think it really simplifies it that Ben Rice is playing as well as he is. And, of course, it is a rookie. It's been 2-3 weeks, maybe a little longer, actually. But, even if he cools down, I think we'd feel comfortable with Rice and Rizzo heading into the postseason, assuming one of them could at least play, give you something with the bat and play defense. So I think that helps because, now we don't need both corner infielders, one or two relievers. No, we just need someone to play third base and also be able to swing the bat a little. So, I mean, that's going to be up to Cashman, but there's no way DJ is still getting at bats in August or September. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they owe him so much money. Like, I could see him just going to a bench role. And I said this in our last video. Like, I wouldn't if he was used as an actual bench player, I wouldn't mind that because I feel like he still plays good defense and he's versatile in the field. Like, you could put him in for defensive replacement, and if you needed him for an at-bat, I think maybe at this point in his career, with the experience he has, and this is just my opinion. I mean, if you disagree, I can totally understand it. But I think maybe at this point in his career, given the experience he has, maybe he could give you an at-bat. Like, he could give you an at-bat, but maybe he can't anymore. Maybe he's just actually completely done. He just hasn't looked good at all. The Yankees are going to have to do something at third base. They're going to have to do something in the bullpen. I wonder if they make another move as well. I think something's definitely going to happen to the bench too, because you want a solid bench when you go into the postseason. The Yankees bench is horrific. It is so bad. It is really really
but
bad.
if you just put DJ on the bench, I mean that gets even worse.
Yeah,
Like
that could be a point. Yeah,
there is no at bat he could give, in my opinion, that someone like Oswaldo or the backup catcher couldn't do just as well or better. I mean, so he's making $30 million. So he's making $15 million for the next 2 years. So
Yeah.
the
I mean,
Yankees being the Yankees, they're not going to just let go of him. But I mean, just
September DFA.
waste of a roster space. I guess defensive replacement in the postseason. I mean, you do have extra roster spots, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what the Yankees do there when it comes to the postseason. And if DJ keeps playing like this, I have no idea. I mean, he's just been really, really, really bad. So it is what it is there. But the Yankees are also going to have answer another question coming out of the All-Star break. Are they going to have a primary leadoff hitter? They are desperately searching for someone to bat leadoff in that order. They tried basically everything. They tried, they've had Ben Rice lead off a little bit. They've had Verdugo lead off a little bit. They tried DJ out. That was just ridiculous. And he grounded in a double play. He's like struck out twice or something. That was horrible. But they're searching for a leadoff hitter. I think Soto and Judge are going to be, in a lockstep. I think John Boy was proposing something. He wanted Soto, Judge, Rice, 1, 2, 3. I don't see the Yankees doing that. I think they're going to, stick with Soto and Judge there. But, maybe at the deadline, if they brought in a guy like Luis Rengifo, who, hits for contact very well, high batting average, maybe they put him at the top of the order, but they're desperately searching for that right now. And it's a shame because that was Volpe's spot. But like I mentioned before, last 30 games at .216 on base percentage, that's not going to work. Not going to work at all. And you can't be an automatic out in front of in front of Soto.
I do have an idea. Do you think that was because the slump started when he moved to leadoff, right?
No, I mean, not
It
really.
was around that time, at least.
He was hitting for a while. No, he was hitting for a decent amount after that, and then he just.
But it already started to slow down, and at that, and everyone thought it was too early to move him to leadoff.
I did. I thought that was.
We were all saying, let him do this for a month or two. Like, there's no rush. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember we both thought it was stupid. And I mean, it's just a lineup spot, but I mean, if he's hitting and he's comfortable for the first time in his career, just let him be there for a month or two. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also I mean, you could argue that he's been worse this year than he has been last year. Like, he's no power. He has 6 home runs this year. He hasn't hit a home run since May 16th, and he's not on this team to be that guy. But I mean, when he's not, hitting for contact, really, he's not getting on base. I mean, I don't know what the Yankees do there. It's unfortunate to see because I was hoping that, this year would really be the next step for Volpe. I think we were going to see, big signs of improvement with the bat. We really haven't seen that. I mean, it's nothing like earth-shattering that he's done.
Did you know he's the most at-bats in baseball?
Volpe?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I could see
most
that.
Plate appearances, most at-bats.
Yeah, he was playing. I mean, he plays every. He isn't.
I guess, and if he's leading off when the Yankees were good, so
yeah,
that's still kind. I mean, last year he had 209. This year he's hitting 245, and his on-base percentage is almost 20 points better. The OPS is the exact same, 666.
Wow. Yeah, that's not a good trend.
Yeah,
that's the devil's number right there on the OPS. You don't want a 666 OPS. You don't want a lot of OPSs in the Yankees lineup, but there's some guys that you do want it. You want that sort of Judge OPS. Ben Rice is solid OPS. I don't know. I mean, the Yankees are looking for answers right now. I'm also interested to see, Austin Wells. He's going to get some run here.
Well,
with Trevino going down.
Another idea I saw was Wells at leadoff.
Ooh.
Which I mean, 3 out of 4 lefties to start the game, but I mean, who cares? I mean, he's probably your 4th best hitter right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's played a lot. I mean, he got off to that real slow start, but He's played really, really well for a month or so now. Yeah, I mean, I wonder the last Yankees catcher to bat leadoff. I mean, that probably
Yeah,
hasn't
but I
happened
mean,
in a
if
while.
anything,
Yeah,
that's
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, they need to try something because it's sort of like, you know, I think they want to sort of set someone in that role at least for the time being. But yeah, so they're gonna need to figure that out. The rotation coming out of the break, I believe it's in it. It's Cole, Nestor, Stroman, Rodon, Heel is pretty. I'm off
Heel's
memory.
getting extra. Wait, I thought I saw something that Heel was getting the most rest.
Well, yeah, I mean he would if he's starting fifth coming out of the break. I mean that's like 10 days.
So Rodon started Sunday. Well, I think Rodon's going to move ahead of him, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Rodon.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Rodon
yeah,
fourth.
he's
Yeah,
just getting moved back a day.
yeah. So yeah, and they're gonna have Cole, Nestor, Stroman, Rodon, and Heel going to be playing the Rays out of the break. Then they're going to have the Subway Series against the Mets. Weird scheduling, although that's what the MLB has been doing last couple of years. A 4-game series that starts Friday and ends Monday. Can't remember the last time I've seen that. I think maybe I have with like a rain out or something, but very bizarre there. Very, very bizarre actually. But it's gonna be interesting for the Yankees because once the All-Star break ends, I mean, you look up and you're like, damn, trade deadline's in like 10 days. So it's gonna be electric. It's gonna be exciting. I think the second half is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be filled with a lot of things. The schedule is gonna get a little easier for the Yankees. They don't play Baltimore to the second last series of the year. So the Yankees are gonna have to play well because they're not gonna really have many chances to go against the Orioles. But if the Yankees get a big lead, it could work in their favor. So who knows? But I don't know. This was the first half. The Yankees are 58-40. That's pretty solid record after the first half. Pretty solid. 18 games over 500. It's pretty solid. Now, when you look at the start they have, you're like, whoa, it should be better. But look, it is what it is. First half has concluded, and whole second half left to be played. And I think this is really where baseball is at its best during the season. A lot of teams are playing for a lot. It's competitive, and you're really counting down, really in the dog days of summer.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think this next 2 months is going to be pretty fun with the Yankees. I think when we just did a video, but I think they're going to stop sucking. I think they're going to get guys at the deadline. It's going to be a good race between the Yankees and the O's, and then we have the postseason, which almost kind of feels guaranteed, but I mean, we didn't have it last year. So I'm excited for this last stretch of Yankees baseball. All-Star weekend, Pete Alonso's World Series tonight.
Yep, tune in.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and thank you once again. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy, I guess, the All-Star break. But yeah, thank you for spending time with us, and we hope you have a great day.